Ever wonder how your gut and brain talk to each other? Like they seem so separate right now.
Right.
But get ready, because today we're going on a microscopic adventure
Ooh, I like adventure.
to explore the connection between gut health, brain function,
Okay.
and even a little something called quantum biology.
Very cool.
Our guide for this deep dive
Okay.
is an excerpt from
Mm-hmm.
Sam the Succinate Sheepdog, The Case of the Broken Brain.
Interesting title.
Now,
Okay.
don't let the sheepdog part fool ya.
Okay.
This story unpacks some pretty complex science.
Yeah, it's amazing how a good story can make those complex ideas
Right.
much easier to understand.
So let's meet our main character,
Okay.
Sam. He's a succinate molecule,
Okay.
and he's a vital player of the Krebs cycle,
Ah, the Krebs cycle.
which is like the energy powerhouse of our cells.
You can think of it like a series of chemical reactions
Yeah.
that help our cells convert nutrients into that usable energy.
Right, like the fuel. So Sam's going about his business when he gets this frantic call from Gabby.
Gabby.
Yeah, she's a GABA molecule in the brain,
Okay.
and the brain's in distress.
Uh-oh.
The calcium ion gates,
Mm-hmm.
which are like these tiny doorways
Okay.
that regulate the flow of electrical signals in the brain,
Right.
are stuck open.
And that's a problem
Please,
because
bro.
it leads to this constant influx of calcium ions,
Yeah.
which disrupt that delicate balance of electrical activity.
So what's causing this chaos in the brain?
That's a good question.
Sam heads to his trusty DNA library,
Oh.
and he discovers that the root of the problem
Mm-hmm.
lies in the gut microbiome.
Ah, the gut-brain connection.
Exactly.
So the gut microbiome is like this complex ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
And when it's out of balance,
Mm-hmm.
it can have ripple effects throughout the body, including the brain.
So what throws this communication off track?
Well, lots of things.
Yeah.
A diet high in processed foods,
Yeah.
sugary drinks,
Yeah.
and those artificial sweeteners.
Ah, so we're feeding our gut microbiome junk food
Exactly.
instead of like,
Instead of those nourishing, wholesome foods, and
Yeah.
just like we feel sluggish after eating junk food,
yeah.
our gut microbiome suffers too.
Makes sense.
And then there's also exposure to pesticides
Oh, yeah.
and herbicides in our food and environment.
Interesting. So it's not just what we eat, but
Yeah.
what's in our environment.
Exactly.
It's amazing to think that those things can have such a big impact on our brain function.
Yeah, it's all connected.
So Sam travels to the gut
Okay.
to investigate what's going on,
Yeah.
and he finds his old pal, Bifidobacterium.
Bifidobacterium, that's a good one.
He's a type of bacteria that's really good for gut health.
One of the good guys.
Yeah, but Bifidobacterium is struggling. He's not getting the nutrients he needs to thrive.
And Bifidobacterium is really important
Oh, right.
because it plays a role in breaking down food,
Okay.
producing vitamins, and supporting our immune system.
It's like a multitasker.
But to do all that, he needs prebiotics.
Okay, so where do we get these prebiotics?
Well, they're found in those fiber-rich foods,
Okay.
fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains.
Got it.
When we eat those, the bacteria in our gut
Mm.
ferment the fiber, producing those short-chain fatty acids,
Oh, okay.
including one called butyrate.
Butyrate, so that's a good thing.
Butyrate is a very good thing.
Okay, but how does it actually help our brain?
Well, butyrate has some pretty amazing properties.
Okay.
It acts as an anti-inflammatory,
Yes.
helps protect the lining of our gut,
Okay.
and it can even cross the blood-brain barrier
Oh, wow.
to directly impact brain function.
So it goes right to the source.
Right to the source.
Wow, so what's Sam doing
Right.
to help fix this communication breakdown?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
Sam discovers that the gut microbiome
Uh-huh.
has its own communication system. And get this, it might involve quantum signals.
Wait, the gut can communicate with the brain using quantum signals.
That's what researchers are starting to explore.
This is blowing my mind.
It's a pretty new area of research called quantum biology,
Okay.
and it's looking at how quantum mechanics, those principles that govern the behavior of matter at the atomic and subatomic levels,
Right.
might also be at play in living organisms.
So instead of just chemical signals, there might be this whole other layer of communication happening
That's the idea.
at the quantum level.
Yeah, and this quantum communication might be happening much faster and more efficiently than we previously thought possible.
This is like, whoa.
It really changes our understanding of how the body works.
So what does this quantum communication have to do with Sam's mission?
Well, researchers are still trying to fully understand it,
Yeah.
but some believe that it could play a key role in how the gut microbiome communicates with the brain.
So these quantum signals are like,
Imagine them as like these tiny messengers carrying vital instructions from the gut to the brain.
So it's like we've got this intricate gut-brain connection, potentially involving quantum signaling.
Pretty mind-blowing.
Right, and it's all being disrupted because the gut's not getting the right nutrients.
Exactly.
What's next for Sam? How's he going to restore balance?
Well, that's a story for part 2 of our deep dive.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
But before we go,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what's resonating with you so far.
Yeah, what's surprising you about all of this?
What's challenging your understanding of how your body works?
Yeah, give us your thoughts.
We'd love to hear from you.
Quantum signals zipping back and forth between the gut and the brain.
It really highlights how interconnected our bodies are.
It's wild.
Like we're just starting to understand all these intricate connections.
So back to Sam's mission.
Okay.
He's discovered the problem.
Right.
The gut microbiome isn't getting what it needs.
Those nutrients.
Yeah, to function properly.
Right, and to communicate effectively with the brain.
So what's his next move?
Sam knows he needs to replenish the gut supply
Oof.
of those beneficial prebiotics we talked about.
Right, the ones that fuel those good bacteria.
Like bifidobacteria.
Yeah, so it's like restocking the pantry for a healthy gut.
Exactly.
Okay, so what does he get?
He gathers up a bunch of fiber-rich foods, things like oats, beans, lentils, and a variety of fruits and vegetables.
So lots of colors.
Lots of colors.
Okay, what else?
He also makes sure to include some fermented goodies,
Like
kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt.
those are already teeming with those beneficial bacteria.
Exactly.
So it's like a two-pronged approach.
Right, you're giving the gut what it needs to thrive.
Yeah, it sounds like a delicious menu
It does.
for a healthy gut.
And it's not just about variety.
Oh, good.
It's also about quality.
In what sense?
Choosing organic options whenever possible.
Okay, why is that?
Well, it helps minimize exposure to those pesticides and herbicides.
The things that can disrupt the gut microbiome?
Right.
Makes sense. So Sam delivers this nutritional treasure trove to the gut, and what happens next?
Well, we don't know for sure if those quantum signals start firing again.
Okay.
But we do know that as the gut microbiome starts to thrive,
Yeah.
it begins to produce those beneficial compounds.
Like butyrate.
Like butyrate, exactly.
We talked about how it can act as an anti-inflammatory and protect the brain.
Right.
But are there any other ways it benefits brain health?
Yes. Butyrate also plays a role in regulating neurotransmitter production.
Those are like the chemical messengers in the brain, right?
Yeah, they allow brain cells to communicate with each other.
So it's like fine-tuning the communication network.
Exactly. And research suggests that butyrate can even stimulate the growth of new brain cells.
New brain cells?
Yes, a process known as neurogenesis.
Wow, that's incredible.
What it is.
So by nourishing the gut microbiome, we're basically supporting the growth of our brain cells.
In a way.
Yes, that's amazing. But how does this all tie back to those calcium ion gates?
The ones that were stuck open, causing all the problems.
Right.
Well, remember how we talked about butyrate crossing the blood-brain barrier?
Yeah.
Once it reaches the brain, it can actually help regulate those calcium ion gates.
Oh, wow.
Restoring balance to the electrical activity.
So it's like butyrate is going in and fixing the faulty wiring.
I like that analogy.
That makes sense.
And as those calcium ion gates start functioning properly again, the brain's overstimulation subsides.
Okay.
Things begin to calm down.
I imagine that would bring some relief from those feelings we talked about earlier.
Like anxiety,
Wild.
difficulty concentrating, those sorts of things.
Right. And this is where we see the real-world implications of the gut-brain connection, right?
Exactly.
By addressing these imbalances in the gut.
We can potentially improve a whole range of
Like
cognitive and mental health issues.
it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
You nourish the gut
Balance the microbiome.
and support brain health.
It's all connected.
It really is.
And while research is still ongoing,
Yeah.
there's growing evidence to support this powerful link.
It's fascinating.
It is.
I've always been interested in nutrition, but I never realized just how much our gut health impacts our brain.
It's a whole other world down there.
It really is.
Influencing how we think and feel.
And that leads us to some important questions for our listeners.
Okay, what are those?
How can we apply this knowledge to improve our own health?
Right.
What steps can we take to support our gut microbiome and our brain health? So it sounds like we've uncovered this secret code to better health.
Kind of, yeah.
If you want to support your brain, got to start by taking care of your gut.
Absolutely. It's a powerful shift in how we think about health.
So where do we begin? What are some practical steps that our listeners can take to nourish their gut microbiome?
The first step is to look at what we're putting into our bodies.
Okay.
You can think of your gut microbiome like a garden. If you want it to flourish,
Yeah.
you got to feed it the right nutrients.
So what does that look like in terms of like everyday food choices?
One of the most important things
Yeah.
is to increase your fiber intake.
Okay, why is that?
Well, fiber acts as a prebiotic,
Okay.
providing food for those good bacteria.
So should we be reaching for those fermented foods?
Absolutely. Things like kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt.
Yeah, those are great.
They're packed with probiotics.
Okay, so we're getting both prebiotics and probiotics.
Exactly.
Any other dietary tweaks we can make?
Yeah, limiting those processed foods,
Okay.
sugary drinks, and artificial sweeteners.
They can disrupt the gut, right?
Exactly.
So it's like choosing an apple over a candy bar.
Yeah, or opting for water instead of soda.
Yeah, those little swaps make a difference.
Absolutely. Small changes add up over time.
And what about staying hydrated?
Yeah, hydration is key.
Okay.
Drinking plenty of water supports digestion
Okay.
and the health of your gut microbiome.
So beyond diet, are there any other lifestyle factors that influence our gut?
Stress management is huge.
Okay, in what way?
Well, when we're stressed out,
Yeah.
it can negatively impact the gut microbiome.
Really?
Yeah, so finding healthy ways to manage stress,
Like what?
exercise, meditation, spending time in nature,
Yeah, all good things.
those can make a big difference.
It's like our mental well-being is connected to our gut health,
It goes both ways.
which is connected to our brain health.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
So it's not just what we eat,
right.
but also how we live our lives.
It's about taking a holistic approach.
Yeah, so getting enough sleep, being active, even spending time outdoors.
Right. Exposing ourselves to different microbes.
It's like creating this ripple effect
Yeah.
of positive changes.
And it's empowering to know
Yeah.
that we have the power to influence this.
So to wrap things up,
Okay.
what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
The gut-brain connection
Yeah.
is incredibly powerful. It impacts our overall health. And by making conscious choices to nourish our gut, we're investing in our brain health and our overall well-being.
It's like we've been given this roadmap. And it all starts with taking care of our gut.
And who knew that a sheepdog
I know, right?
could teach us so much?
We encourage you to learn more
Yeah, check out the glossary of terms.
and continue exploring this fascinating world of quantum biology.
Keep learning and keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.